Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Kevin Does YouTube, back with another video guys, and welcome to a brand new different video that I have never talked about, something I've never talked about, and that is Stranger Things. Yes guys, as you see it from the title, I have finally watched Stranger Things. Yes, it has been a long time overdue. I have been wanting to watch the show for quite a while. My brother's the one that actually got me into it, like saying like, yo, you should give it a try, because I did give it a try like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but I couldn't make it past the first episode. Like something back then I didn't want to watch it, and I was watching like other shows. But now in 2025, literally when it's about to end, literally in 2 weeks, the last volume is gonna start. The last season is gonna start, and then it'll end the end of this year or starting in 2026 January 1st. I don't know when, but it's gonna end very soon, and I'm kind of glad I waited all this time, because then I would have had to wait like 2 years. Because I think when I would have watched it back in 2023 or 2022, I think I would have been in season 4 maybe. So then I would have to wait like 3 years, or 2 years for it. So I'm glad I only have to wait a few weeks for it. So I'm kind of glad I watched Stranger Things until now. But obviously, I would like to say, oh, I'm a long time fan of Stranger Things, but at least I'm a fan now, and that's all that matters. I freaking love Stranger Things. My favorite show ever, for sure. It's just so great, and I'm gonna get to like some scenes I watched. I'm gonna quick summarize every season, and yeah guys, talk some Stranger Things. And yeah, I finally watched Stranger Things for the first time, so let's get straight into it guys. And yeah, let's talk some Stranger Things, not some wrestling, we already did that. Let's talk some Stranger Things, and as always, don't forget to yeet that like button, yeet that subscribe button, turn notifications on for some Stranger Things. Here we go guys. I'm also gonna react to the trailer in a different video. So yeah, that'll be this video. I'm recording this Wednesday, after I recorded Talking Wrestling, because I already had like done a video of Stranger Things, but then the footage didn't do it, so I'm doing this later in the afternoon. So yeah, and then right now, I'm gonna react to the trailer tomorrow, Thursday, and yeah, this video will be up Thursday, and then the trailer reaction will be up on Friday. So yeah, just for y'all don't get confused. But anyways, let's talk some Stranger Things. So basically, we're gonna go through every season, not episode by episode, just summarizing. And yeah, because I could talk about this all day if I wanted to, but come on. All right, so we're gonna go with season 1. So basically, it's the group friend of it's a friend group of Dustin, one of my favorites. I'll also add in like my favorite characters, favorite scenes from each season, and my favorite seasons ranked. So I'll add some more stuff in the video to spice it up. Let me just okay. But yeah, so yeah, let's talk about season 1. So we have the friend group of Dustin, Lucas, Will, and Mike. So they're all just playing their Dungeons and Dragons game in the first minutes of the show. Also starts with like someone taking nurse, I think, from the elevator, just looking up, and then we hear a monster. That's it, and then we pan to the group. They're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and then basically Will and Dustin bike all the way through Mirkwood. Dustin leaves, I guess, and then Will sees someone like a shadow in the street of Mirkwood. I believe that's where they are. He crashes through the bike, runs to his house. No one is there. No Jonathan, which is his brother, and no Joyce, which is his mom. And yeah, he tries to hide from the monster that's following him, which we don't know what the monster is yet following him. But I have some predictions, but we'll talk about that in the trailer when I see it, or later on. But yeah, so where's that going? So yeah, Will tries to run away from whatever the shadow is, whatever the monster is that's following him. He tries to hide inside. He still sees a shadow like in the doorstep, so he goes into his Byre Castle. I believe that's where he is at the moment. And then the monster is still seen growling. He has like a shotgun ready to attack, and the lights go out, and then boom, Will is gone. And basically the whole season 1, everyone's trying to find them. The group of Mike, Lucas, and Dustin, obviously not without Will because he's lost at the moment, try to find Will, and they end up finding in the last episode of season 1 or chapter 1. Not the last episode of season 1, the last episode of chapter 1, they end up finding Eleven, which is, she was in the lab. She was taken from her mother, I believe, and she was in a lab with her papa. They were I guess experimenting powers on her, and she has powers. So yeah, they found 11, and then basically they try to, you know, like show basically 11 the real world. They save her basically from all the bad people. And yeah, and then 11 obviously helps them. She knows Will, I think, in the picture. She says like, Will. And yeah, basically 11 helps them all look for Will. Hopper is also one of my favorite characters. He's helping Joyce find Will. He's a sheriff. And yeah, they basically the whole season they're obviously trying to find Will, and then also there's another person that ends up actually dying, which is Barb. Nancy is the sister of Mike, and Nancy, you know, is with Steven, which is not my favorite character at this season. We'll talk about that later. Steve, her boyfriend, whatever, and yeah, Nancy's best friends with Barb. Barb gets taken in one of the episodes, and yeah, we even see her trying to climb out of wherever she is, which we later know now is the Upside Down. And yeah, she tries to escape, and then wherever the thing is, pulls her down, and yeah, but yeah, and then just the whole season, they try to find Will. They end up, you know, finding the body in the water. It doesn't end up to being Will. And yeah, and then also people from like the Hawkins lab try to find 11, and then now we get into one of my favorite scenes ever in this first season, and that is when the kids are running on their bikes. They're driving away, I guess, or biking away, that's what I mean, on their bikes, and then they see a van coming their way, and 11 flips the van over. That is one of my favorite scenes from the whole season. That the way she just looks at it and boom, it flips over. That was incredible. And yeah, basically saves them yet again. And yeah, so to get away from the Hawkins people and Papa. And one of my other favorite season 1, I have some things written down because I don't want to forget, is Joyce communicating with Will through the freaking Christmas lights. So she's also, obviously that's his mom, she's trying to find Will. She ends up like communicating through the lights with the Christmas leaves. She writes all the alphabet in black paint, and that's just that an iconic scene. If I was to choose a favorite scene from the whole season 1, it'll probably be that one. It's just iconic, like the whole letters and the black paint, the lights around it. It's just iconic in my opinion. But there's so many great scenes in season 1. But yeah, I think that was a personal favorite of mine. And yeah, and then yeah, basically they're just trying to find Will. She communicates through that. And then, you know, she also sees the actual monster with no face going through the walls, and she runs away. And then who also sees the monster is Nancy and Jonathan. They see it. You know, Nancy got stuck on the Upside Down for a second, and then Jonathan pulls her out of it. And then eventually everyone meets together to fight this Demogorgon, which is the I guess the killer of the first season. And yeah, they all make a plan to save Will, and they don't know, I don't think, well, they end up finding out that Barb is actually dead. Once they get into the Upside Down, which is Joyce and Hopper, they end up being the ones going down to the Upside Down, and everyone, you know, just making a plan just to defeat the whole monster and everything. And yeah, and then at the end, Steve, you know, Jonathan had a fight, they argue and whatever, you know, Steve was being not gonna lie, a little dick to Jonathan, you know, saying like, oh, your brother, you know, like your whole family's trash, basically, like that's what happened to your brother, and whatever. And then they end up getting a fight, and Jonathan freaking beats the shit out of Steve, which at that moment I liked, and beats the freaking, just humbles him at the end. And then we actually see that he humbled him, because Steve at the end shows up to, you know, say sorry to Jonathan, and that's when Nancy and Jonathan are getting ready for a fight. And then Steve, you know, they tell him to leave. He's about to go inside the car, you know, to dip, and he goes back inside, and that is when he becomes one of my favorite. Whole 360 turn right there. He decides to go back in and help them against the monster, risking his own life. He could just run away in the car, drive away, and maybe nothing will happen to him. But no, he decides to stay. And how about Nancy, what the freak? Nancy and Jonathan, and he doesn't. I guess he doesn't like Jonathan. Obviously, we for sure know Jonathan doesn't like Steve, but like he might not like the guy at the still at that point. Like he went to go apologize, but he didn't like him at that point that much, you know, because he just beat his ass up, I guess. But he went to apologize. That's all that mattered. He even risked his life for him technically, and for Nancy, obviously for Nancy more. But he risked his life for both of them and helped them with the freaking bag, I think, or whatever he had. And yeah, and then began a character arc for Steve, and a redemption arc, I guess. Even though he said a lot of hurtful things, but he didn't try he didn't do anything like killing people wise, you know. So, but he was still like a douchebag in the first season. And yeah, and then the first season ends with, like I said, Hopper and Joyce fighting Will, and you know, and yeah, they find them, and yeah, and then also 11 at the end saves Mike and the group friends at the end by defeating the Demogorgon and then vanishing. And we end season 1 with 11 not knowing where she is, if she died, if she just vanished, where is she? And yeah, yeah, that's how basically we end season 1. So they end up finding Will, and that's great. But then in season 2, we get into season 2 now. I want to go some more scenes in season 1 that happened. So Jay's communicating with Will through the lights. That's my favorite scene. 11 flipping the band. That's my other scene. And then Steve saving Jonathan and Nancy. I love that scene. But I also love the scene where I just like the scene where they all just group up together, just plan out what to defeat. How to defeat the when the monster they're facing each other. So yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes. Just them uh, just figuring out what they're gonna do against the monster. I think in the last episode, and yeah, but yeah, those for sure are my favorite scenes. Joyce communicating with Will on the lights, and 11 flipping the van, and Steve saving Jonathan. So those are like my top 3. Uh, and yeah, we get into season 2. Will has been found, and still Will is, he's basically season 2 is just Will going through the trauma. And yeah, going through the trauma obviously just got taken in season 1. So all season 2 is Will going through trauma, getting controlled by the new villain, I guess, the Mind Flyer, which controls Will for the whole season. He's just going through dreams, and there's new character Bob, the boyfriend of Joyce now tries to get him out of it by saying, "No, I once had a dream too." Or a nightmare. I once had a dream. What the freak? Not MLK in this shit. He once had a nightmare. And he said like, "Oh, go away," and the nightmare just went away. And Will once tried that in one of the episodes, and the thing did not go away. Just got him all over his body. He felt it everywhere, and that's when we knew that Will, the Mind Flayer was controlling Will. So the whole season was just them trying to get the thing out of Will, save him yet again. Like this time they actually had him in his presence, but they still had to save him from the Mind Flyer. And some of my favorite scenes is obviously at the end 11 closes the gate. She also during the season went to visit her mom and just figure out more about her childhood, I guess, and her in the Hawkins lab. She also went to find out her sister, that she knew she had a sister from all the pictures and everything. She went to her sister. Her sister was in a group or whatever, and they were running away from some people. They even found the guy that mistreated their mom, and they tried to kill him, but 11 saved them, and 11 dipped to help save her actual family, I guess, her friends. And then my favorite scene from season 2 is 11 opening the door and everyone seeing her for the first time. Also, 11 is alive, by the way. Hopper was keeping her away from everyone, just to keep her safe. So I like that Hopper, after losing his daughter, unfortunately, the first season to, I don't know what, cancer maybe? I don't know, but in the hospital she died. Sad. But now, Hopper has a chance, he has a daughter in 11 now, and that's awesome. And yeah, and then Hopper was keeping 11 safe, and then 11 would just stop breaking. She would without knowing, I guess, breaking the rules, and Hopper would just get pissed every time. Even taking away the tea from her, and just and then even at one point she said, "You're just like Papa," and that was just crazy. But yeah, but one of my favorite scenes is obviously 11 closing the gate at the end with Hopper in her side, and she even lifted up a little bit. So yeah, but I don't know if she could fly totally. If she can, oh my gosh! But and then also she 11 reuniting with her sister and mom, whatever, and then at the end the snowball scene. So yeah, they obviously defeat the Mind Flyer by closing the gate, 11, and yeah, that's basically season 2. They take the thing out of Will by burning him up, and then the whole Mind Flyer thing flies away. And yeah, Joyce is just strong. She in this first 2 seasons she was just determined and to freaking get this thing out of Will, save Will in the first season, now get this thing out of the Will, and she ended up doing that. Obviously Jonathan also being his brother, and yeah, and it was a great scene. The ending with just snowball scene, and also this new character Max with her brother Billy. Max joining the group, and yeah, she's now with the group, and that gets us in season 3 with her brother being the one now controlled by the Mind Flyer. This Mind Flyer likes to control people, likes to find his new owners, and now it takes over Billy. Billy kills, or I guess didn't kill, but brought in someone else to be controlled with him. I think it was, I forgot her name, Heather maybe, from episode 1 or chapter 1 from season 3. He gets controlled by crashing. He sees something, he gets crashed on, and then they bring him down, whatever. And then he gets turned Billy, and then he turns Heather, I think that's her name. And yeah, and then he just starts, getting controlled by the Mind Flayer the whole season, and they're Max and everyone, 11 and everyone tries to save Billy, I guess, or kill him at the end of the day. They want to kill the Mind Flayer still, and whatever the monster is, there's also a big ass red monster. I think it's the Mind Flayer. I don't know what the actual monster is. Another big ass Demogorgon or Demodog, whatever. But along with Billy, that's the other thing controlling him basically. And yeah, So yeah, but let's get into my favorite season of season 3. Obviously, while the whole freaking battle is, I'm just gonna get straight into it. The never-ending story of Susie and Dustin. This is for sure my favorite scene, probably of all the seasons. This is my favorite scene for sure, for season 3 at least. The never-ending story. While the whole battle is going on, Hopper and Joyce down to close the thing forever. Find the Russians and everything. Even with Mary, a new character that helps them with the Russians. Even Alexei, another new character that was one of them, and then got turned. He helped them at the end of the day. And then what's it called? Yeah, just while everything's going on, while the battle's going out, Susie and Dustin just singing the never-ending story, and that was one of my favorite scenes ever in the whole season. Not one of them. That is my favorite season. It was just amazing or funny, but catchy. Not gonna lie. And yeah, some of the other great scenes was obviously the Starcourt Mall fight was incredible. That's obviously one of my favorite ever fight scenes of any season. And obviously now to the Billy sacrifice at the end. So Billy gets sacrificed. He sacrifices himself for 11. I honestly thought he would sacrifice for Max, but 11 is the one that brought him back. She also went during the episodes on his mind, and at one point Billy saw her and grabbed her actually, but in other ones 11 actually saw Billy as a small child, at the point where he was happy, she went to his happiest place when he was with his mom, and then she also saw he would get kind of beat by his dad, and then she just used that all against Billy to bring him back to his normal place. And Billy wasn't always that, he wasn't always even before he was controlled, he wasn't that great as a person. Even in season 2, he tried to beat Steve. Also, Steve is now the babysitter at the end of season 2, and now I freaking love Steve. By the beginning of season 2, Steve is a Houdini character, and now Steve is one of my favorite characters ever. And yeah, in season 3, he meets with this new person, Robin. And he's best friends with Dustin now, and they all end up getting stuck at somewhere with a Russian place. They all get kidnapped even. Also with Erica, Lucas' sister, they all get trapped, and eventually they end up in the Starcourt Mall fight. And yeah, and just they all meet together at the end. And then also the freaking iconic scene just from the blooper alone. Just Hopper trying to talk to 11 and Mike, you need to go, it's you, Grandma. And then I just love the bloopers. But yeah, and yeah, basically at the end, we all think Hopper is dead because Joyce closes the thing, and Hopper, was fighting the big ass Russian, which unfortunately killed Alexei with a shot. He just literally just walked up, boom, shot him, and yeah, crazy, for sure, emotional scene, and yeah, and then he defeats the Russian, gets thrown into the thing, whatever it's called, I think the upside down maybe, the whole thing to close it, and then she closes it, the explosion goes everywhere, and we don't know with Hopper if he's alive or did he make it out, and we don't know until season 4, but yeah, and then at the end Billy sacrificed himself for 11 after everything she said to him, and yeah, and then just the thing starts attacking him everywhere, and 11 ends up saving everyone yet again, and it was a great season 3. I freaking love season 3. And yeah, there were so many scenes, but yeah, that's about it. Billy makes a sacrifice, emotional death in Alexei there. Also, Bob in season 2, like I said, is Joyce's boyfriend. He gets eaten by the Demogorgons, and I just don't, just the way they just pan after they left. Obviously Joy emotional, taken out by Hopper, because there was other demo dogs freaking going, 4 of them came out, and they were just all eating freaking Bob after they already had killed him. They just panned the camera after everyone's dipping on the car, panned just to them eating. That was a little comfortable, but anyways, yeah, emotional death in Bob in season 2, and yeah, that's about it. And they end up defeating the main flyer yet again, or Billy ends up dying, and obviously Max, sobbing in tears, obviously, because that's her brother. And yeah, but I just love that never-ending story between Susie and Dusty Bun. And yeah, then season 3, with people thinking Hopper, and ends with the Hopper's letter. Don't forget to close the door 3 inches. That's just and the freaking song going. It was amazing. But that brings us into season 4, where Joyce gets a letter, and Hopper is alive. Hopper is alive, and now we have to deal with the biggest threat ever that leads us also in season 5, and that is Vecna himself. And I just want to get straight into it. Vecna, who is it? It's the freaking nurse or whatever that was, in the nurse that, where chapter 7, season 4, Vecna's origin, we found out who it is. It was the one that was taking care of the kids or whatever. We see that he's trying to save 11, they're trying to he's trying to save her. At the end, I think it's Henry. That's the name before he was Vecna, I guess. Henry tries to save 11, and then the guard, she knows that she has powers. That Henry has powers because he takes them both down, like takes the guards down, and then we see that he uses the powers, and we see the bones crushing, and we find out there, or I found out in that episode that he is Vecna. Obviously not turned into the whole monster as Vecna, but he is Vecna, I guess. And yeah, he starts crushing the bones of a child, and then 11 sees it, and then they have a scene where they're just talking about it, and Henry at that point or whatever. I don't know if it's like that's his name or that's the name of the monster they're talking about, or like that's his name also, like it's just the person without turning. I don't know. Like I'm gonna go with Henry because that's his name, I guess. I think it is Henry because that's what 11 called him in the. I'm gonna go with Henry. If it's not him, then I'm sorry because I think that's what 11 called him. Or what Dr. Bennett called him. But anyways, yeah. So where was I going? I guess so mixed up. I just want to talk about this scene every day. So yeah, she learns about who Henry is, and like he could do powers, like he killed everyone there. And in the beginning of season 4, we just see 11 like with everyone down and blood in her eyes and blood in her everywhere, and like her papa saying, "What have you done?" And then now we find out a few later episodes that it was all along Henry or Vecna, whatever you want to call him. And yeah, he used the powers against the children, and then he tries to use it on 11, or 11 tries to use her powers on him, and then 360 Henry uses powers on her, and then at the end she starts remembering her mom or anything, whatever, and then her powers just start becoming better, and then she pushes Henry into the wall, starts just, I don't know, creating him into Vecna basically, opens upside down, throws him away, and then does something, strikes him, and then that makes Vecna, and that's how we find out the origin of Vecna. And obviously during the episodes before we find out who it is, there's like people dying, like Eddie in his trailer, like Chrissy comes out there, and she's the first victim, and her bones crushed and everything, her eyes crushed, and yeah, and then Eddie, basically the whole season they're trying to save Eddie, a new friend of Dustin and Mike, with the whole campaign Hellfire Club thing. He's the owner, I think, of it, the creator of the Hellfire Club, whatever. And yeah, and then this Jock, I guess, Jason, like Chrissy's boyfriend, tries to find them the whole episode with people. Even Lucas tried to help him. He helped them a little bit, but like he gave them the wrong lead and then ran away to tell everyone and just joined the crew. He was never a bad guy. Obviously, Luke isn't that. He just tried to be cool. He won a basketball game with the last shooter, so hey, that's nice. But yeah, and then just they're trying to hide Eddie the whole season, and then at the end they all get ready for battle. Eddie's, Eddie's first big scene is when Steve goes down to the Watergate, as Dustin calls it, and he gets stuck there, and everyone goes down to help him, and Eddie didn't have to do that. He could have stuck on the boat, all alone, but he could have stayed on top and not going down there to fight all the bats and everything, but he did, and helping everyone, and see Robin there, and yeah, and then that leads us to season 4, the final battle. This guy Vecna has already killed, like I said, Chrissy, another guy. Who else did he kill? He had to kill 3 people. He killed someone else. I remember the guy with the glasses and Chrissy, but I forgot who the third victim was. Because there need to be 4 for the whole clock thing to work, and for him to like get his mission done, I guess, and open up everything in the Upside Down, up in Hawkins. And yeah, Max was the victim, and this is one of my favorite scenes from season 4. I think might be my favorite. Or now there's so many great scenes. This might be top 2 for sure, and that is when we hear running up the hill, and Max is being left up to be the 4th sacrifice, or one of the sacrifices, and yeah, and then gets lifted up, and then she, I don't know, does something to break the curse. He hits Vecna, and then she's just running up that hill. That just whole scene with running up the hill playing and her breaking out of the curse was just amazing, running through the thing. I honestly thought she might have still died at the point, but then we see her going down, and also just the scene of her lifting up with everyone around her was amazing. That scene is one of my favorites on the whole season for sure. It's my top 2, and my other favorite season, which made me love Eddie, was the whole freaking guitar scene, the freaking Master of the Puppets guitar scene, just from jamming out to distract the bats, I guess, and distract Vecna, I guess, to give people time. And yeah, it was just amazing. Freaking love those two scenes. And yeah, and obviously 11, most of the season, she went to get her powers restored because she lost them in season 3 to the battle, to the monster and everything. And yeah, she got her powers back. That's why she, remember what happened in the lab. And yeah, she comes back, helps everyone. And also the gang is separated basically all of season 4, with Mike being with Will and Jonathan and this new guy Ariel or something like that. It's called and then obviously it's Nancy, Steve, Robin, and who else was with them? I guess Dustin, and Lucas and Max. Yeah, Max. And at the end, after everything, in the last scene, after the whole guitar scene and everything, Vecna trying to go again for Max. 11 has now restored her powers, but it's not enough for Vecna. She gets trapped in this whole naked thing. She gets trapped and everything. She's choking out, and then we finally hear the words we've been wanting to hear. He said it before. Well, technically 11 said it to Mike, but in the season 4, like, do you love me, Mike? Because she read all the letters and like from Mike, not love Mike. Like how she wanted, and then we finally get that I love you, 11. I love you, 11, and I loved you ever since I saw you, and then that I guess gave hope to 11, and she broke out of thing. Ended up throwing Vecna and saving kind of Max. She was already her bones had already snapped and her eyes were already going back. She was about to die, and then 11 saves her kind of at the ending moment, just to like finish her off Max, I guess, for Vecna to finish off Max for good. And yeah, 11 gets out of she gets free thanks to Mike. Ends up using her powers on Vecna, and then also Steve, Nancy end up putting fire on him. That's his weakness, I guess, and they end up, Nancy shotgunning him and everything, and that is the end of Vecna for now. And then he just, he's seen missing where his body was, I guess, and yeah, Vecna's still out there, and yeah, Max is still hurt a lot. Like she died for a second, and then at the end, while Lucas is holding her, 11 uses one of her powers, which I don't know she could save someone. She puts her heart, and then like she puts her hand in her heart, and then we I guess fast forward 2 days later, Max is at the hospital with Lucas. She's like not alive, but she's still, I guess, breathing or something. Like they don't even know what happened. And yeah, like Lucas doesn't know that 11 was there. Like 11 wasn't there. Like she was somewhere else. She was in at Hawkins where they were actually planning on killing the Vecna. And she entered through Max's mind and everything. And yeah, and Lucas didn't know that she was with there. But yeah, and then just one of the most emotional, honestly, might be the most emotional scenes ever. Eddie sacrificing himself for Dustin. Oh man, that one hurt me for sure. Like Eddie, I liked Eddie a lot. Like he was my favorite character from season 4 for sure. Like from all the new characters that I've seen, I liked Robin. Don't get me wrong. I even liked Bob, but for sure Eddie had to be my favorite. Just sacrificing himself. Dustin climbed up to his bed or whatever, and he's like. They even have a scene where he said, like, Eddie said to Dustin, don't ever change. And then at the end, he said, I didn't run this time after, being defeated by the bats. And yeah, was attacked by the bats, and all of them got him. And yeah, after everything was done, after everyone was saved, I guess, thanks to 11, I guess, yeah, we just saw Dustin holding Eddie saying that he loved them, and Dustin saying he loved them too, and that he didn't run this time. It was just emotional. When he, put the bed down to save Dustin, I knew it was gonna end for Eddie, and I didn't want it to happen. I thought there was still a chance, because like it took a time for them to, like, the bats to get him, to get that one shot in his throat, I think, and just kill him off, I guess. And yeah, I wish Eddie, I think he would have made great friends with Steve. He did make great friends with Steve. Not with Steve, the one with Jonathan's friend. Like, they were just two, like, vibey characters. I don't know. They would have been great friends. But yeah, and then I liked also the scene. They're all reunited with Mike, 11, Will, Jonathan, and the other guy reuniting with, Mike's mom and Nancy and Jonathan. Dustin with Will and 11. It was just all emotional. Everyone hugging each other after the whole battle. And yeah, Hopper reuniting with 11 was one of my favorite scenes from season 4. Also, like, there's so many great scenes. And like you said, like, I never closed the door 3 inches. I left the door open 3 inches. Like, that's so awesome. And yeah, also, by the way, I forgot to say that Hopper was in Russia the whole time. I'm sorry, I'm just going through like the whole place, where he was alive the whole time. Joyce and Murray ended up finding this guy Yuri, which at first, Yuri betrayed them. Betrayed Enzo too, which was a guard that was helping Hopper during his time there in Russia, wherever they were, in Alaska, I think. And yeah, and then he got turned by Yuri, and then Enzo and Hopper were, just trying to survive against the Demogorgon, which they have there too. They have some in the chamber, and they released one, and everyone died except for Enzo. And Hopper thanks to Joyce closing the door, and then we get the emotional scene where Joyce finally sees Hopper for the first time, I guess, and hugs him, and like Hopper just now realizing she's just actually there and hugs her back. It was just emotional, and yeah, and at the end they end up defeating all the Demogorgons with the fire and everything, and even we had a great sword fight with Hopper and the last Demogorgon. You know, it was just a little quick snap of the arm, and then boom, chops his head off. It was just nice seeing. You know, they could have all just killed them in the fire, but they wanted to add more. You know, like this. I'm just gonna beat your ass basically and defeat you with the song playing in the background. That's awesome. And yeah, and then everyone's safe but Max, and they all knew that, they all still know at the end that Vecna's still alive, and it's the beginning of the end, as Vecna said, and it is the beginning of the end, which will bring us to the trailer in the next video I'm gonna record for Stranger Things. But yes, guys, I'm gonna rank the most emotional death scenes now, and that of course starts with Eddie. I freaking love him. Wish he would have survived. For sure. So, oh man, I feel like he could have been a season 1 character, man. But even if it was just for one season, I freaking like loved him. You know, one of my favorite characters for sure. And yeah, that was an emotional death scene for sure. The second one I would probably say is Alexei, which was, you know, Russian, but he was a Russian, but you know, he was, I guess, one of the bad ones at first, but then turned into good. He was funny at times, and yeah, it was just the way he just the Russian just showed up and boom, shot him, like, was crazy. And then the third one I would have to say Bob, and the fourth, who would be the fourth one? Oh, but also the guy, who was his name? I think I have him. Was Benny. Benny was the one that first saw Eleven in season 1, and then the person from Hawkins just shot him like out of nowhere also. So like that was the emotional death. I would have, like, if this would have happened later on in the season, that would have been for sure a more emotional death, but I would have to put them at the least. But don't get me wrong, great character just for the small scenes he had in the first season protecting Eleven and letting her eat fries and burgers in his restaurant. And then number 3 would be Billy because of his sacrifice. But yeah. But like if I was to rank them from like all being nice, I would for sure put Eddie first, and then Benny, then Alexei, and then what's his name, Billy. But yeah, so yeah, there you go, guys. That was my favorite scenes. Now time to rank them. Those were all my favorite scenes from all the seasons. I wish I could talk about more scenes that happened, but like there's just so much to talk about. But I freaking love Stranger Things now. It's one of my favorite shows ever. Top 2 for sure, and I think it is my favorite show. But now it's time to rank all the seasons. So whatever the freak that I have. All the seasons are number 1, to be honest, but I'm just gonna rank them. So number 4, least, I guess favorite, but they're all my favorite, is season number 2. You know, I didn't like. It made sense for the story of, you know, Eleven visiting her sister, but I didn't like all the whole thing. I feel like it wasted away from the actual monster that was happening. They just added more scenes into like her with her sister, but you know, it was other than that, it was a great season. But yeah, I think that was just had some more iffy parts, so I'll put that in last. But still a great season for sure. I'll put number 3, season 3. Yeah, the whole Starcourt Nightfall was amazing. You know, everyone being separate and then them all coming back at the end was amazing for the fight. And then the Hopper sacrifice, kind of. You know, he didn't really die, but you know, just the whole emotional. And then Hopper's letter, of course. Come on now. And then season 1 will be, it's an iconic season for sure. I'll put that number 2, and then we get to meet all the characters and everything. And then season 4 for sure is number 1. And I really hope season 5 outbeats everything and is number 1 at the end of the day, which I think it will be, but hopefully it is. And yeah, guys, it's now time to watch the trailer. I can't wait for that. And yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching, guys. And I finally watched Stranger Things for the first time, and of course I'm giving it a 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10. And yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm sorry I yapped for 35 minutes, but Stranger Things, watched it for the first time. Wanted to give you my favorite scenes and just wrap up some of the things that happened basically in each season. And yeah, guys, don't forget, you basically, like, just by me saying this, you basically watched everything of Stranger Things. But obviously there's a lot of things I missed from the seasons, so go and watch Stranger Things for the first time if you haven't, and you know, comment down below here what you thought about it. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. And this was me watching Stranger Things for the first time. And yeah, my favorite characters for sure, top 3 are number 1, Eleven, number 2, Steve, and number 3, Dustin or Will. I'll go with Dustin. Yeah, Dustin, and then Will, and then Hopper. I also love Joyce. Hopper is tied with Joyce, but yeah. And yeah, every character, like, I also like Max and Lucas, but those are my top 5, I guess. And yeah, Jonathan's also amazing. But yeah, those are my favorite characters for sure. Top 3, 11, Steve, and I could change between Will and Dustin, but I'll go with Dustin because like it's just the funniest scenes ever. You know, with the girl. I can't even say it, but that was just funny. And yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for watching. This was me watching Stranger Things for the first time, and yeah, I freaking loved it. Thanks for watching, and as always, yeet that like button, yeet that subscribe button, and turn notifications on. And now it's time to react to the trailer of Season 5. I've been wanting to watch this ever since I watched Stranger Things. I also finished it in a week, because I was just loving it so much, and I just couldn't stop watching it, and I finished it like, not even in a week, like 5 days. Just amazing, man. I love Stranger Things, favorite show ever, for sure. And yeah, guys, give it a try if you haven't, and that was me. Talking and yapping about Stranger Things for 35 minutes. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace out.